Ever noticed how the people who cut off old friends are instantly judged? And what's scarier, how most people secretly fear becoming that person one day, maybe even without realizing it yourself. Cold, selfish, ungrateful. But psychology tells a very different story. People don't cut off old friends suddenly. They don't wake up one morning and erase years of connection. What actually happens is slower, gradual, intentional. It begins with a feeling that's hard to explain, a sense that something no longer fits, even if nothing is wrong. Psychology shows that as people grow, their identity often changes faster than their social circle. Values shift, boundaries tighten, self-respect forms. And when identity evolves, the mind looks for alignment. Old friendships often reflect earlier versions of the self, versions built around survival, confusion, or emotional limitation. Staying connected can start to feel like being pulled backward into a role that no longer exists, not because your friends are bad people, but because the version of you they know no longer exists. Cutting off contact isn't rejecting the past, it's protecting identity stability in the present. Another reason friendships end isn't conflict, it's imbalance. Psychologists rarely see relationships end because of one big argument. They end because emotional labor quietly becomes one-sided. You're always the one listening, always checking in, always explaining yourself. They never ask how you're really doing. And here's the uncomfortable question most people avoid. Why do you keep explaining yourself to people who stopped listening? You spend an hour explaining yourself, and they just scroll past your message. You stop replying immediately. You feel lighter when plans get canceled. That's the moment the brain stops registering the relationship as connection and starts registering it as effort. And distance begins to feel like relief. One of the clearest psychological signals before a cutoff is silence. Not anger, not confrontation, silence. People stop defending their choices, stop correcting misunderstandings, stop asking to be seen. Psychology explains this as emotional withdrawal, not apathy. When someone feels repeatedly misunderstood, the mind conserves energy by disengaging. By the time the cutoff happens, the relationship has already ended internally. Another powerful factor is fixed identity roles. Old friendships often lock people into labels: the funny one, the reckless one, the weak one, the quiet one. Psychology shows that when someone grows beyond the role they were assigned, resistance from others can feel suffocating. The cutoff isn't about disliking friends, it's about refusing to stay confined to an outdated version of the self. And this is where the guilt shows up, the doubt, the late-night thought, am I the bad one? But here's the psychological truth. Not every ending needs an explanation. Some people won't understand, no matter how clearly it's explained. Emotionally mature minds accept that closure doesn't always come from conversation. Sometimes distance is the boundary. Cutting off old relations doesn't mean someone is cold, arrogant, or ungrateful. Psychology shows it often means they finally chose coherence over chaos. Not all connections are meant to last forever. Some are meant to shape you, and then release you. The healthiest minds learn when holding on costs more than letting go. So, if you've ever walked away quietly, without drama, it wasn't cruelty, it was growth. Have you ever ended a friendship because you outgrew it?